Walking Dead: A New Frontier was awesome. I mean, incredible. And hey, hear me out, don't dislike the video just yet. Listen, I can explain. The third season of the Walking Dead Telltale game finds itself ranked comfortably the lowest of the 4 mainline games. And although its online ratings suggest it's still a pretty decent game, the Walking Dead community would tell you otherwise. It was always going to be difficult to keep such a die-hard community happy after producing an absolute work of art, but the complaints and general disappointment at the New Frontier kind of shocked me. Surely the game couldn't be as bad as people were saying. I adored both the first and second season, despite the many people who wouldn't necessarily agree with the latter. Regardless of which characters stay and go, the stories to me remained quite amazing, and I'm going to be honest, it's the same for this game too. There's a lot of change that comes with this third season of the game, and I can understand why some people don't find it as their favourite, but I found it to be just as good, if not better, than some of Telltale's other work. When you look past the obvious differences from this game and the last, you can still unearth an absolute gem of a story. So in this video, I'll take you through my playthrough of the game, reviewing the big talking points about the season, but most importantly, sharing the highs and lows of my story of The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. Our first episode begins at the very start of the zombie apocalypse, with a phone call as a man named Javi is urged to return home, with it sounding like his ill father is on the verge of passing away. Javi sprints back home to find his brother David waiting on the porch, only to find he was too late and that his father is already gone. David immediately gives Javi shit, hitting him to the ground and ripping into him for not being there, especially since it seems that his dad was only hoping to see Javi.
All around him, people who love him all around him, and he's scared. I'm seeing the panic in his eyes, and he's searching the room. ¿Dónde está Javier? ¿Dónde está mi hijo?
David's frustration gets cut short as his son and Javi's nephew, Gabe, opens the door to question why they're fighting. We tell him it's just brotherly banter as he heads back in and David starts to cool off with a beer. I should probably take the time now to address the several elephants in the room. There is a pretty noticeable graphics change from the previous 2 seasons, with a 3-year gap separating season 2 and season 3. Personally, I think the graphics look great. Yeah, I really like the comic style of the last 2 games, and I understand that the drastic change can make people think it's less of a Walking Dead game by making people look a bit too shiny or glossy, but honestly, they suited this game really well. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. There's certainly some things which look ridiculous, but it works, and I'll go into it again later on. And then of course, we aren't Clem. Probably the biggest talking point of the entire season is that we play as a completely new guy. I think some people in the Walking Dead community are quick to make a judgment when such a big change is made, but again, I think it works really well. It's not just an effort from Telltale to force new characters in our face, it's a strong way that they've freshened up the games by telling the story from a different perspective. And of course, Clementine's still in this game, and her story is just seen from a different pair of eyes. Anyway, more on that later. After we head inside and thank David's wife Kate for consoling us, we check in on our mother, who bitch slaps us for not being there for our father in his final moments. But David's other child, Mariana, might have just let us off the hook with simply the coolest introduction to an apocalypse ever.
Grandpa's cup was empty.
You don't have to fill his cup up anymore, baby.
Aww.
Grandpa is sleeping.
No, Yaya. People's awake.
Oh shit! Chills, literal chills. An awesome, almost reactive camera angle shot. I mean, look at how authentic it moves to add to that unnervy chaos that's about to ensue. Takes us into the father's room where what you'd expect happens. The undead man attacks David and Javi's uncle, with the mother understandably thinking he's just confused, which all shifts after Grandpa takes a chunk out of Granny's cheek, being put down by Javi and his makeshift baseball bat. Everyone rushes out the house to get the mum to the hospital, but of course with this being their first encounter with the undead, no one could know what was possibly to come. It returns to I don't know, what timeline are we at now? Present day. Oh, yeah, nice. It's around 4 years later, and Kate and Javi are watching out over a huge horde of zombies, looking to stay on the move to keep ahead of the huge swarm. It looks like the family's been cut in half, with only the pair and the deceased David's children surviving so far, living in their van for the entire thing. Javi and Kate discuss the possibility of trying to find somewhere safe to stay rather than driving constantly to avoid the herd, but Kate's not sure it's the best option, opting to get high to remove the stress.
I can't believe you found weed.
Are you kidding? People were
You
probably
serious? Hardly the best of
Relax.
ideas, is it?
Right.
While the kids are asleep, Kate offers us some.
You want some?
No, we're driving.
No thanks. One of us should be sober.
And Kate tells us that when she got married to David, she knew in herself that she wasn't great stepmom material, unsure how well she would handle looking after two kids that especially aren't her own. We learn that Gabe isn't necessarily the easiest kid to parent currently, with his mood swings being pretty hurtful some of the time.
Look, I
So it's just those four. You could see that little
but I
sign
could
in the
do
back.
without Gabe reminding me I'm not his mother whenever he's pissed.
After making a diabolical attempt at flirting with Kate, talking about
Christ.
we've
I need
been
to
like,
get laid.
oh, Javi, my boy.
I can pull over. It won't take a minute.
Wouldn't be worth it for just a minute.
Mariana and Gabe wake up to the smell of Granddaddy Purple, which is handy as it's time to make a supply stop at a nearby junkyard, with fuel the #1 priority as we continue our road trip ahead of the zombie herd. As we all get out, we notice Mariana praying in the back of the van, so as to be respectful, we give her a moment of peace.
I'm praying I find a candy bar.
Okay. You know what? Valid. After taking down our first walker, Gabe storms off without saying a word, and it seems we might have found our Ben and Sarah of this season. I couldn't help but feel on edge with what Gabe might accidentally do in the rest of the game. We tell Mariana to stay safe and get on with searching for fuel, interacting with the most pointless thing I think I might have ever seen in this game.
Okay, now I'm sorry I did that.
What? Before speaking to Kate again, who, despite taking a figurative chill pill, is still anxious about the herd, desperate to just keep moving on. Gabe is about as easy to talk to as a walker with AirPods in, so we avoid parenting practice to start siphoning fuel, only getting drops from most of the cars we find, before finally coming across a medic van with the help of Gabe, which seems to be in pretty good condition. Ambulance.
Good catch.
Yes, good catch. It was right in front of us. The van is full to the brim with fuel, so as we let it pour out and into our gas can, we can do a little extra exploration, coming across a small trailer, which seems to have a fair amount of goodies inside. With the front door locked, we get a little throwback to Season 2, moving a plank of wood to the side to crawl into the building and pop up through a hatch in the floor.
Gabe, come check this out.
Why are you yelling, bro? Going to alert the authorities. I've got to say, the characters in this game have a considerable lack of volume control. So many times they just speak or yell at the top of their lungs, despite the person being like a few meters away. I wouldn't be surprised if that horde is following them, because Gabe is just like listening to Instagram reels on full volume. Inside we come across the mother load of food, and in Gabe's interest, a hell of a lot of honest to God pudding. With a mattress and blankets included in the offer, the kids really want to stay for just one night, whilst Kate obviously still wants to keep driving. I choose to side with Gabe and Mariana, especially since if we keep quiet, which could be difficult,
Gabe, come check this out.
the horde is likely to just head straight past us, which leaves Kate to storm out, feeling upset that once again she's the boring stepmom, whilst we get to be the cool uncle. We reassure her that at least we think she's cool.
Oh, come on. That's not fair. You're cool to me.
Wow, that means so much.
Before handing us the candy bar that Mariana prayed for, allowing us to be the cool uncle once again in preparation to head out, not willing to risk us staying here for the night. With our sleepover cancelled, we head over to grab the siphoned gas, only for the night to be ended even earlier than we'd planned. They're not going to decide.
What the fuck do you think you're doing with our gas? Go on, speak up!
I'm sorry, man. Look, it's just a can. We needed it really bad.
I fucking knew it. There's more than just you out here.
The several men continue to aim their guns at us, asking where the rest of our group is, and despite us telling them that they've headed off, the main guy, along with a man called Lonnie, stick with us in an attempt to flush out Gabe and Mariana from the trailer.
You assholes in there! I got your boy! If you don't want him getting shot, you best come out there careful with your hands up!
The leader sends us in first, in hope that if they get ambushed, it'll be us they jump first, only for no one to be seen when we enter the trailer, the kids fleeing via the hatch just in time. They didn't leave without a trace though, and the multiple puddings already eaten prove we probably weren't here alone. The guy doesn't take too kindly to our lies, hitting us to the floor before leaving to grab some cuffs. Kinky. His side chick Lonnie is left to watch over us, but a noise from beneath the hatch leads him to get curious, taking a peek below to allow us to knock him out before our hermit family get caught, but we don't get away without receiving the same punishment when the men return. We wake up in the passenger seat of a truck, hands zip tied together, and a man who might just be our friend.
I'm already tempted to put a bullet in your brain for what you did to Lonnie back there.
Maybe not. Seems like we're barking up the wrong tree. Oh, there's the right one. A falling tree brings the truck to a crashed halt, and as we manage to reach for the man's pistol, he makes a break for it, resulting in us making a decision to let him go. He didn't actually try and kill us after all. Our good deed isn't necessarily improving our karma just yet, as we hear a shotgun low to our back, but it couldn't have been a more welcoming voice on the other end. The apocalypse.
That's good. Just keep looking forward.
Clem! Of course, although Javi doesn't know who this is, we sure do. And Clem is even more of a badass than when we saw her last. And yes, she does look a little different with this new art style, but I think it still suits her character. This season is set 2 years after the last, and from what we learn later down the line, Clem has developed even more and been through a hell of a lot, so it makes sense that she isn't the same as before. It's still Clem, and her refreshed design fits her character even better. Clem tells us she stopped the truck to, well, get something to drive, but unfortunately our friend didn't quite stop how she expected. She reaches into her bag to find some sort of payment for saving us, which is when Javi realizes the kind of person that Clementine is.
Hey, that's for my niece. She loves chocolate more than anything. I promised it to her. Please.
Don't be an asshole, Clem. Clem prepares to just head off alone again, but when we tell her that we need her help to get Kate, Gabe and Mariana back, she agrees to join us, but in return for our van so that she can drive onwards. God damn, Clem is a badass, still puppeteering every adult she comes across. We introduce ourselves to each other as we begin our walk back. The herd passing by forces us to make a minor detour off the road, in which Clem tells us that she's spent most of her time on her own, hence how she's become an even better survivor than before. The herd of zombies are becoming a massive ball ache though, cutting us off again, so Clem suggests that we head for what seems to be a nearby town to wait out for the passing walkers. There's a large group of them surrounding the gates, and we get there just not in time for them to be closed, with the people on guard happy to let us in though once we clear the walkers. We mow several of them down with the help of a man from above, and all seems well until Clem's bullets fire blanks, but we manage to stop her from becoming dinner just in time, with the gates opening up to let us in, alongside a lady named Francine who swoops in last second on a fucking horse? God damn. The man who let us in, named Tripp, seems to recognize Clementine, who has seemingly been making brief acquaintances in the nearby area.
It's Clementine, right? You staying a while this time?
We tell Tripp that we don't plan on staying for long, just waiting for the horde to pass before returning to our family, so he allows us to chill here for the while, as long as we stay out of trouble during our visit. The place, named Prescott, is actually super cool, a small little community located on an old airstrip, with buildings and walls built out of metal scraps. I mean, the place even has a bar. It's kinda surreal in comparison to what small amounts of civilization we've had before in this game. While Clem goes off to speak to someone about some bullets, we take a look around, heading over to the bar to speak to Francine and her man named Conrad, who recognizes us, seeing as Javi was an ex-professional baseball player who unfortunately had his career cut short as he was found to be gambling on his own matches. It's super cool to have a famous person in the apocalypse, just like in the show. It makes for different interactions between certain characters, bringing the option for unique treatment and dialogue. We help Francine win her game of poker before a commotion begins from across the room, with Clem furious at a guy for ripping her off, saying that he traded her box of batteries for a box of bullets that don't even work, scamming her with this fake ammunition. He says we need to try harder if we think we'll intimidate him, which leads to Clem pulling her gun on the guy.
Come on.
He knows the bullets don't work. Listen to him. He's not even nervous.
It's clear that the guy's a fraud, and to follow it up, he gives himself another title of the biggest prick we've met so far.
Look out!
What the fuck? What the fuck is this guy doing? He receives a punch in the face after being sat back down and offers to return the batteries to Clem.
I don't need batteries. What I need are bullets that won't get me killed. Oh no.
Holy shit. Tripp and some of the others rush over to see what just happened, and after explaining how the guy attacked us with a knife, it was totally justified, although Tripp still sends us outside to be held in a makeshift prison cell for the time being, finding their doctor to tend to our eye. Clem thanks us for having her back with the scamming bullet guy, although still has reservations about becoming our friend. It certainly seems that Clem has become a bit more of a loner since the last season, not trusting people too easily just yet. The community's doctor, Eleanor, makes her way over to check in on and flirt with Javi.
Javier. Pleasure's all mine.
Is it now? Now, let's see about that wound. Why is it always the pretty ones who end up causing the most trouble?
We let Eleanor know that really Clem didn't do much wrong.
If you don't mind me asking, what did happen exactly?
That guy had it coming. Believe me. Karma, justice, you call it whatever you want. Fuck that bastard.
Hey, okay. If you say so.
I don't think it'd say that. Yeah, honestly, one of my only real issues with this game were the misleading dialogue options. A few times I picked something to say, and then Javi would just say the most outrageous shit instead. Fortunately, I don't think it messed up much for me, but still, it caught me off guard sometimes. We tell Eleanor about the men who attacked us back at the junkyard, which leaves her a bit conflicted. When Tripp comes over, he tells us that he will happily drive us back there in the morning.
All right, here's what we're gonna do.
I'm driving you that junkyard myself.
Whilst Eleanor thinks that they could need more urgent help, even needing her as a medic too. When Tripp leaves, Eleanor insists we could sneak out at night, ensuring that we return to Kate, Gabe and Mariana as soon as possible, leaving us to make our choice alongside Clem. Leave with Eleanor.
We're leaving
Content.
tonight with Eleanor. If it gets us there even a minute sooner, it's worth it.
All right, I'm in.
Clem tells us how glad she actually is to have met us, struggling to find any nice people left in this apocalyptic world. As the two wait on Eleanor to return, I think this is another chance for me to defend the change in art style. With 4 years passing since the beginning of the apocalypse, the remaining people are often far better survivors, whether that be from pure survival skills or their lack of risk-taking by just avoiding any new people in general. People will have changed drastically, which is why I find the new designs to be so fitting. Clem, for example, is absolutely nothing like how she was when we first met her, so really it displays the world changing that much more. She's more stern, resilient, and threatening, and such is displayed better in her new art style. However, I can't say the same for this flashback that Clem gets. Like, seriously, that's Jane? No, Telltale, no. We get a flashback to our time with Jane, following the controversial ending to my second season, where we still find ourselves living at the hardware store with baby AJ still with us. The thing is, both Clem and AJ look pretty similar to how they did, so what happened here? Anyway, we discuss a potential middle name to give AJ, us suggesting Lee, and Jane suggesting her sister's name.
Jamie, that was your sister.
Yeah.
Hell no, Lee's
I
way
used to think
better.
that if-
All this cute talk, however, gets cut short by Jane heading inside after saying she doesn't feel well, which is when we follow her in shortly after to find a pretty sorry sight.
Oh my god!
Holy shit. Oh my fucking god. And just like that, Clementine was left alone with AJ as we return to the present day, on horseback with Eleanor. On the way, Eleanor tells us about how somehow her and Tripp had a romantic thing going on, although it didn't last very long and she can't expand much as we arrive back at the junkyard, where it seems like tens of walkers had breached the gate somehow, and we spot Mariana's cassette player laying on the floor. But fortunately, when we call out her name, she comes running right to us.
Javi!
Oh my god!
They are good.
You're safe! I can't believe it!
You told me where to hide. I just listened to what you said.
You did exactly what you should have done. I always knew you were a smart kid.
She tells us that when the zombies came, Kate and Gabe ran right for the van. Yet when we find it, it's certainly not in a safe state, beaten up with smoke coming from the hood. It doesn't take too long though to spot Kate hiding in another truck with walkers surrounding her door, and after some light work of slaying the undead, she's free to come out. We got him.
Javi,
Nice.
you found us.
Hey, it's okay. I got you.
You happy to see me?
Hate to disappoint you, but that really is a gun in my pocket.
Nice to see you too, asshole.
Gabe comes out from hiding too to share a hug with his sister, sharing his fears that they were going to die from being overrun.
Yeah, well,
This is
you weren't
wholesome.
here. The herd showed up and Mariana was gone and we were waiting and waiting and then I was just so scared.
I'm here now. You don't have to be scared.
Eleanor tends to Gabe's minor battle scars as we introduce Clementine to Kate, telling her how she saved our life back on the road as we make a plan to return to Prescott to stay safe for the little while longer. We try and convince Clem to stay with our group rather than ditching us once she finds a working vehicle, but she still remains unsure. But I'm actually so glad we're finally getting a happy ending to an episode for once, with Mariana even finding her headphones intact on the floor.
Thanks.
What the fuck?
Mari!
What the actual fuck? No, BD. We aren't about to have a wholesome moment for once. Mariana immediately falls to the floor, with gunfire raining down on the group, the men from before desperate for revenge for stealing their stuff. Kate desperately tries running over to us before taking a bullet to the side, and Gabe narrowly dodges one himself by sprinting over to keep her down. We begin to return fire, taking out a couple of the men before taking cover. Eleanor insists we need to head back to Prescott immediately, as a #1 priority.
I'm gonna fucking kill him! I'm gonna kill all of them!
That's not gonna bring her back, Javi.
So what? I'm just supposed to let him live?
If you really want to help your family, you'll come with me. We can't wait anymore.
We stay here and we finish this.
Are you crazy? We have to go now.
Despite Clem wanting their blood too, we cave in and head to Prescott with our family. Clem staying back to get some mercy as we ride off to keep Kate alive. Episode 2 begins with another flashback from before the apocalypse, where Javi offers to help Kate wash dishes since he is crashing at her and David's place since he's banned from professional baseball. Kate tells him it's fine, especially since David will want her to clean them perfectly, and the two talk about what Javi plans on doing to get himself back on his feet.
I won't be here for too long. Just, you know, gotta get back on my feet a little.
You're right. I don't mind.
But David does. Is that it?
Maybe a little bit.
It seems pretty clear that Kate had almost been regretting her marriage with David even before the apocalypse began, and her and Javi was certainly closer than you'd have thought. Kate expresses her dreams of visiting Norway to see the Northern Lights, but whoa, better focus on those dishes, Kate, especially since you just broke David's favourite glass that he got when he was in the army.
He's gonna be so pissy about it. I can hear him already.
Just blame me. Well, he'll buy it. I'm the idiot fuck up, right?
That's true.
Exactly. There you go. See? Much better.
After the pair continue to get even closer, David comes in to see what the noise was, and to our surprise, he's furious, ripping into Javi for having no care for David's things and for telling him to be nicer to his wife.
You don't know him like I do. Always judging everyone, except himself.
You know what, David? Time for you to open your eyes. Kate's gonna leave your ass.
What?
She told me so.
Honey!
You said that?
Jesus fucking Christ, no! We were talking about traveling and I
didn't expect him to say that. It said tell him off, not tell him his wife's gonna leave him. Yeah, again, I'm not sure that was telling him off, but you know what? It's fine. It's David. He's a massive prick anyway. We return to the present day in Prescott. Kate screaming in pain as us and Eleanor tend to her bullet wound. Eleanor confirms that since there's no exit wound, the bullet is still in her and needs to be removed. And despite Eleanor asking the eager to help Gabe to give us some space, I tell him to stay for an extra pair of hands. Plus, he really does want to try and help. We get a nice and gruesome scene as us and Gabe pull Kate's skin back as Eleanor dives in with pliers to get the bullet. But we aren't done yet, with the worried Eleanor insisting she now has to go in and stitch her up inside to stop any internal bleeding too. She finally gets the stitching done, leaving Gabe to grab some water to clean it up.
Okay.
Oh, what the hell?
What'd I do? What'd I do?
That's fucking alcohol, you
Alcohol.
dipshit.
Fuck! I'm sorry. Gabe!
Yeah. Couldn't see that one coming. Gabe is certainly supposed to be one of those characters which divides people's opinions. Is he just another clumsy kid who's a danger to everyone else? Or is he really trying his best to be a valuable asset, but still a kid who has to learn? Later on, Eleanor comes over to share some news. Although the bullet luckily narrowly dodged her stomach lining, Kate is still bleeding, and Eleanor doesn't think she's going to return to her best. It could well be that all she can do is delay the inevitable. We take the time to look around Prescott while Kate rests, speaking to Tripp about potentially staying if we'd like, and speaking to Conrad to find out if he knows where Gabe has run off to. He offers his sympathy while Kate tries to heal before we find Gabe outside the gates, letting his anger out on a dead walker. After handing him Mariana's tape player, he tells us how angry he is at himself for making the mistakes he did.
And Kate, she needed me during her surgery. She needed my help. And I fucked it up.
We tell him that it's okay to make mistakes and it's never easy to be perfect, but our talk gets interrupted shortly after. It's Clem. What the fuck? She just pulled up in like a shit. The men that attacked us has followed Clementine all the way here, so we send Gabe off to make sure Kate's ready in case we need to leave, as we set up on top of the gates to defend ourselves. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Knock, knock. Anyone home?
We know them. Those are the freaks that brand themselves.
The New Frontier.
We get the expected back and forth with the men, part of a group called the New Frontier, suggesting that we attack them at the junkyard, despite them literally killing a girl in cold blood.
They shot first. They killed my niece.
Well, what the fuck do you want? An apology?
What I really want is for my dead buddies to be alive again. But I don't think that's too likely, is it?
You fucking brought it upon yourselves, you fucking idiots. We tell them to politely leave.
Go fuck yourselves.
Before they start to lose their patience, bringing out Francine, Conrad's partner, out as a hostage, threatening to remove her finger if we don't surrender.
She's innocent in this. You don't have to drag her into our fight. I don't have to, but I kinda want to.
You fucking freaks. Oh my God. With them threatening to cut off more fingers, we can either come down and give in, or boom, headshot. Oh shit. Francine gets taken out too as we continue to shoot them down, but the dynamite Ganado gets through the gate, and after being taken out, his explosion alongside the group ramming the gates down with a truck full of walkers brings havoc into Prescott, and that incoming tear gas is going to make it a whole lot harder to take down the walkers. But hey, at least I tried to calm the situation down. I'm not fucking going with them just so Francine can survive. Who the fuck is Francine, bruh? We work our way through the thick fog of tear gas, finding Gabe, Kate and Eleanor before hopping into a car and making a break for it, with Clem joining Trip and Conrad in another. The rest of the residents certainly didn't have quite the successful escape though, either being eaten alive or being mercilessly killed by the remaining members of the New Frontier. Well, these guys are certainly on par, if not worse than Carver's group. Pure barbarians. We make it out, reuniting with the other car, although Conrad is far from happy, furious that we opened fire on the men rather than just surrendering, blaming that for the death of Francine.
Francine, Prescott, all because this washed up cheat walked through our gates. All I know is, if it wasn't for him...
Back the fuck off! Now!
We tell Gabe to put the gun down as he reluctantly lowers it, but he threatens Conrad to never lay his hands on us again before running off. Conrad is distraught about losing both Francine and his home, wanting nothing more now than to just kill the rest of the New Frontier. But with no home to return to, Clem suggests we head to a nearby town called Richmond, which is supposedly safe. We all decide that we have no other options really, so get back in the cars to make our way there. Kate is looking even worse for wear on the journey there though, becoming incredibly thirsty, and a fever is seemingly taking over her. We tell her that we aren't ready to lose her yet, and although she wants to keep going, she realizes that maybe this is an opportunity for her to peacefully leave the harsh apocalypse. We tell her to keep pushing though, saying we won't raise Gabe alone without her helping us too. And with a long trip to Richmond still on the way, we close our eyes to get some well-needed rest until we wake up to a couple cars blocking the road, requiring us to try and move one of them to be able to get past.
Awfully convenient the pass is blocked like this.
Not convenient at all, if you ask me.
It's not going to be as easy as just pushing the car though, as without tyres it'd be like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube using just a flaccid penis. So we continue to take a look around, finding a garage with something pretty useful inside. Oh fuck. We're able to hook the winch onto the car, but without power, we still need to find some way of getting energy to the machine. We quickly speak to Gabe to see how he's holding up, teasing him for having a little chat with Clementine earlier.
So? We were just talking. She seems pretty cool.
Before finding some jumper cables in the trunk of a nearby car. We hook them up to Trip's truck and finally get the blockade moved, although it seems we just popped the cork to a tunnel of walkers, with them flooding in, leaving us to take some out with a sick quicktime event where we pepper the zombies with bullets before telling Eleanor to just make a break for it, to get Kate to safety as soon as possible, while we work out a way to clear the area of the undead. We narrowly save Conrad from becoming dead meat, but he has no time to thank us with even more of the undead headed our way. We make a break for a rooftop, Gabe coming in clutch to block some of the walkers off, and finally getting on top of the gas station with the help of our boy Conrad. I've got to say, I'm not too sure how I feel about the graphics when the camera pans to a horde of zombies in this game. They nailed some of the graphics elsewhere, but when it shows a large group of zombies, it's almost like they just threw in a bunch of PNGs and called it a day. With the group stressing out over what to do next, and throwing blame at one another for getting ourselves in this mess, we spot someone watching us from afar, putting everyone back on high alert as the person disappears. We get to play some high stakes hide and seek, heading up to where we spotted the person watching us, only to find them hiding right where we saw them.
I'm gonna need you to turn around for me. Slowly. Did you hear me?
It's a mannequin, I knew it. Yeah, nice one, Javi. The man puts his gun to the back of our head and insists for us to be nice, overhearing our conversation about heading to Richmond and questions which side we're on.
You're going to Richmond. That tells me you got something to do with what's going on down there. Question is, whose side are you on?
We don't know what he could be talking about, and a whistle from afar distracts the man, forcing us to tussle with him until Clementine aims her gun at him. The man drops his as he gets surrounded, allowing us to check him for the mark that all the members of the New Frontier have, but it seems he's clean.
I don't think he's with those guys.
Look, I'm telling you. I'm on my way to Richmond, just like you. I lost touch with some good people there when the New Frontier took over.
What did you say?
Oh shit, the New Frontier took over Richmond. We have to get there now, no time to waste, so the guy suggests that we take the nearby train tunnel that should take us basically straight to Richmond. As we lower our weapons to trust him, my suspicions that I might actually know this guy are about to be confirmed.
Hey, what do we call you?
Sorry, forgot to introduce myself. It's Paul, but my friends call me.
It is! What the fuck? Yeah, That's right, Jesus from the Walking Dead TV show is in this season. And honestly, I'm not sure why I got so surprised. I completely forgot about Glenn being in the first season too, but still, awesome crossover. We get another flashback following the news of the New Frontier Richmond takeover, returning to when Clem was on the run from walkers with a toddler AJ on her back. They take shelter in a small trailer as Clem does her best to quiet AJ down from crying. As we try to sit and wait out the incoming zombies, there's a woman's voice asking to be let in from the outside, with her managing to get in whilst we protect AJ. The zombies are doing their best to force the door down, but we help the child, or woman, she could genuinely be 15 or 40, I can't tell. She tells us that AJ is lucky to have us looking after him, especially since his parents are dead, and she starts explaining how she got separated from her group while looking for supplies, making it seem like she must have a lovely group of survivors to hang out with. But after asking us to come with her to find them, I start getting a little sus, rejecting her somewhat pushy offer as she goes to sit back down on the other side of the trailer, as we return to the present day once again. We've made some good distance through the train tunnel, and as we keep moving, Clem tells us that she has something very important to tell us.
It's about the New Frontier. I've met them before.
What do you mean, met them?
I was one of them.
Oh shit. It turns out that that woman in the trailer ended up convincing Clem to go back with her, and well, she was New Frontier. But I'm sure we'll find out even more about that later. She insists she's no longer part of them. In fact, once we get out the tunnel, she plans on just leaving, considering if any of the New Frontier at Richmond recognize her, she could be in big trouble. Speaking of big trouble, anyone fancy another group of walkers, but this time in pitch black darkness? We fight a couple of them off us until Gabe gets pinned to the wall, only for Jesus to nail his own QuickTime event to Karate Kid the zombies off of him, leaving the group to run for the hills, reaching a train blocking the way. Fortunately for us, it opens up with a bit of elbow grease, and barricading the door with an old pipe does the job to keep us safe.
We gotta...
I wouldn't touch that gun, girl. You either, cowboy.
What the fuck is he doing?
You think I'm stupid? Finish your little story. Now.
Conrad is furious that Clementine had been hiding her involvement in the New Frontier, believing she's still a member. However, he thinks we can use Clem as a bargaining chip to get something in return from them, which simply doesn't sit right with us.
I'm not doing this. If you want to shoot me, shoot me.
How about I shoot your little boyfriend here instead?
Right.
What the fuck, Conrad?
Fucking shoot, Conrad.
Nobody has to shoot anybody. Just tell Clem this is how it's gotta be. And then we all step into the sunshine. Come on, man, be reasonable. This helps both of us.
I'm just gonna go.
Don't take another step.
Holy shit.
I do feel this was a bit of a in the heat of a moment decision from me, and I'm pretty sure Conrad wouldn't have hurt Gabe, but is any man that is insane enough to pull a stunt like that safe in our group? Especially with the plan he wanted to carry out with Clementine. Even after supposedly saving her life, Clem continues to leave the group for now, not wanting to show her face in front of the New Frontier as we insist to Gabe that we had to take out Conrad. No risks being taken here. When we make our way out of the tunnel, we tell Tripp that shit went down in the train, not exactly specifying that we killed Conrad, but mentioning how he attacked us and the kids. I'm sure he was hurting about Francine being killed earlier, but that's still no reason to threaten to kill an innocent child. Tripp is clearly annoyed about Conrad losing his temper, but it's time to prioritize finding Eleanor and Kate before it's too late. Heading towards the gates of Richmond, only to spot a couple soldiers on lookout.
Can you see anything, Javi? What are they doing?
That's their car.
Hey, keep it down.
Shut the fuck up, Gabe. Somehow, Kate is still alive, sitting in the back of the car with Eleanor nowhere to be seen though. We share a hug as Gabe comes over and gives Kate one too, with Kate confirming that Eleanor had been taken in and hasn't returned since. So there's not much else we can do other than pick Kate up in our arms and head onwards to the gates to try and get some help, as Kate certainly is starting to look even worse.
We're here, Kate. I'm gonna get you inside, okay?
Javi, if they can save me, how about you and me finally take that trip to Norway?
As long as we make some time to hit the slopes, I'm in.
We call out and it turns out the leader from earlier, Max, is on guard duty. The guy is still gunning for the biggest prick of the year award, telling us that if Kate's gonna die, then she's gonna die, refusing to offer us help as he continues to gaslight himself into thinking we attacked them first. But we try our best to find whatever remaining heart that Max has left.
That girl your people shot, that was her daughter. And the other one, Gabe? He's right here beside me watching her die. You can stop this if you want to.
Please! Kate's dying! She needs help! It's not like I don't have a heart, okay?
We tell him he owes us some aid, and as we follow along by lowering our guns, he proceeds to tell us to put our hands behind our heads, and refusing to let go of Kate, Max decides it's time to release unnecessary gunmen to forcefully put a stop to us. The fuck?
What the hell's going on out here?
They said they weren't here to hurt anybody, so I was trying to see if they...
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's David!
Dad?
No way! Our third episode begins in the past once again, with us and Kate quietly exploring the dark, foggy streets for supplies, while still living at the family home. They find a truck with a propane tank. Propane and propane accessories. I can't do the Hank Hill voice. What's Hank Hill sound like? Only for it to be completely empty. Kate lashing out at herself for constantly being so unlucky, but launching that empty tank is gonna alert some noise. So much so that we get a Javi jockey with a zombie kid latching onto Javi, requiring us to deal with it ourselves whilst Kate freezes in shock after recognizing the kid as one of Gabe's friends. After consoling her, we head back to the house. It turns out that this flashback is 3 months onwards from when David rushes his mother to the hospital at the beginning of the game, with Kate ready to leave to somewhere safer, assuming that her husband won't return. We convince the kids, especially Gabe, that we need to move, reinforcing the fact that it isn't safe here, with his old friend getting his head caved in by Javi just before. So after leaving a note for his dad, we will move on out of the family home. We return to the present day at Richmond, in utter shock that we found David after all this time. After Gabe runs over to hug his dad, the citizens lower their weapons, as we tell David that Kate needs urgent medical help after being shot.
She's coming inside!
But she hasn't been checked.
This is my wife, Max. You want her to die?
No, I didn't say that.
With David clearly a higher up member of the New Frontier, it certainly seems like we might get some sort of protection during our time here, with Gabe and Kate passing through immediately, although understandably, us, Trip and Jesus get sent into a quarantine room to be checked for bites, where Eleanor had seemingly been waiting for us. Eleanor's here. Oh, and she was just put in there as well.
Oh
Okay.
God, Eleanor! When we found the car without you in it, I didn't know what to think.
Eleanor tells us that she'd been kept in there for a little while now, and clearly no one cared enough to go looking for Kate in the car. It seems as though we struck gold with David coming out the gates to greet us. Trip breaks the news to Eleanor that the people here are from the New Frontier.
Oh my god.
Oh, you ain't even heard the worst part yet. One of them's his brother.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Hey, nobody's more surprised than me. I thought the guy was dead.
Yeah, I really can't make my mind up about Trip yet. Sometimes he'll be a stand-up nice guy to us, but then all of a sudden acts like a completely different person when he feels the slightest bit of anger in him. He's super difficult to predict so far. Eleanor learns too that David is Kate's wife, which she seems to find a bit odd considering how close Javi and Kate are. Although is it really that weird considering it's been 4 years into the apocalypse without leaving each other's side? I saw some Reddit or Steam posts questioning that the pair's relationship was a bit odd considering Kate is Javi's brother's wife. 4 years is a hell of a long time, especially considering they've been inseparable in a very lonely and depressing world. It's not shocking at all for them to have some feelings towards each other, with a bond as strong as they have. Anyway, despite David getting Kate the medical help she needs, Trip is still super cautious about the group since Prescott was burnt to the ground by these guys, and doesn't have much trust in David if he was a higher up that allowed for such an act to take place. I mean, he could have even been the one to give the green light on the attack that killed his daughter Mariana. We tell the group that even we aren't certain what to think about David, retelling how some days we would be happy siblings and then the next he'd be at our throat over the smallest of things. Trip kind of just wants revenge for what happened to Prescott, and although we don't disagree with him, we do insist it'll be best to stick by their rules for now, get on their good side, and then we can get our justice. David tells us that we can leave quarantine with Kate waiting to see us in the hospital, whilst the others are left to stay and wait. On the way there, we chat with David about Richmond itself and the rules that we have to follow while we're here, especially since he overheard us talking down in the quarantine room.
Go along with them for now? Doesn't sound good.
Gabe had also told David about losing Mariana just a few days ago, telling him how his daughter's dead. We let him know about the brilliant person she was developing into and the light that she brought into such a dark world, which leaves us to explain to him exactly how she went.
She was just standing there, minding her own business. She just found her lost headphones in the dirt. She was smiling. And then someone put a bullet in her head.
What kind of animal would just open fire on her like that?
An animal with your mark. They shot Kate too. Ask your buddy at the gate if you don't believe me.
Max was a part of this?
We give him the exact run through of what happened during the last 2 episodes, learning that there are multiple people that run Richmond, including David, and it seems that sometimes the power gets to the heads of some of the less moral people, leading to their unsanctioned attacks, with Max and Badger being the ones behind the attack on Prescott. Not that it's necessarily connected to this part, but during my research I also learned that some of the other characters from the TV show had been part of Richmond prior to the New Frontier arriving, according to the comics, including some of the later introduced characters like Magna and Yumiko. I never realized realised how interlinked the show, comics and games are. David asks us to not bring it up in front of any of the other members, as it seems the political state of the community is a bit wonky at the moment, and he doesn't want any more drama just yet. Before reaching Kate, we also get introduced to Ava, the woman who we saw last in the flashback with Clem. Ava happens to be David's right-hand woman. Quite loud as well. I feel like it sounds like there's a lot of people talking. I'm sure it brings a lot of attention. She's cringe as fuck. After quickly speaking to David about how we'd waited for him at the house, despite the fact that he'd left thinking we'd all died, he thanks us for our commitment to saving the family, and we finally get to Kate. Gabe and David immediately start to act like the old times, whilst we check up on how Kate's feeling. The atmosphere is certainly a little awkward, with David acting as if nothing has changed in the last 4 years, kissing and speaking to Kate as his wife as if he had seen her every day for the last half a decade. With such, Kate writhes in pain, sending David and Gabe rushing out to get help, but it turns out it was just a facade in order to get some alone time with Javi. Nice.
I'm scared, Javi. More than I was the whole time on the road. Even when I thought I was going to die, everything inside me screams to get away from here.
We agree with Kate to plan a way out of this place soon, with her wanting to get back to it just being us and Gabe on the road. We end our heartfelt moment just in time though, as David returns to the room alongside Dr. Lingard to make sure Kate's okay, and after checking on her fake pain, he admits that he's surprised she's recovering so well. Turns out Eleanor's work on her did a good job, with only antibiotics being needed to get Kate back on the road to full health. After telling Lingard that Eleanor is with the others still in quarantine, him and David make sure she gets released immediately, as us and David head off to meet with the other leaders to try and put a good name in for ourselves. We arrive in the meeting place to meet the other big names in the group, including Clint, who controls the food production, and Joan, who seems to be the main man. After ruling Joan the victor between her and Clint's cooking competition, sorry Clint, that looks like the vomit of some random kid during a maths test in primary school. The pair, including David and Dr. Lingard, are the 4 main decision makers of the new frontier, so they tell us to report to them for any plans that we have, and after the 3 reminisce about how they met, David keeps us in check.
Wondering what this fine piece of body art is all about? It's our litmus test for loyalty.
I've seen that mark a few times.
You probably saw it at the gates. Right, Javi?
Shortly into our conversation, Max and co slam open the doors after Clint invited them in, after hearing there could well be some bad blood between the both of us.
Let's just say I wouldn't invite him to my wedding.
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking go.
Good. Because I just said you wouldn't be invited.
Fucking idiot. Joan asks Max for the full and true story of what happened between us, with him starting off by saying we stole gas from their vehicles, which we admit to, although noting that we had no idea it was theirs.
You just asked. We'd have given it to you.
Difficult to ask when you put a gun to our head. However, he quickly starts to go off script, mentioning how Clementine drove their truck off the road by knocking down a tree, conveniently missing out the bit where we were kidnapped by them in the first place. And although David told us to let him deal with the drama, I'm not about to let these guys judge us without knowing the full story.
One of your people, some asshole called Badger, he put a bullet in a little girl, my niece, David's daughter.
What? Damn it, Javi, I told you I'd handle it.
No, David, this cousin fucking dirtbag has the balls to accuse me? He and Badger destroyed an entire town.
That's enough.
No. We need to hear this.
We continue to tell Joan and Clint about the attack on Prescott, mostly orchestrated by Badger, and immediately Joan questions why David didn't have his men under control.
She's right, David. You've lost control.
I want them gone. All of them. Take Javi and everyone in the quarantine to the gate.
Can someone please tell me why we are being kicked out, not Badger and Max? To really add salt to the wounds, David insists that Kate and Gabe will be staying to ensure their safety, leaving just us, Tripp and Jesus out on the road, being left with a very sorry looking bag of resources. And for food, well, Ava decides to serve Tripp a random knuckle sandwich to take with him, as she suggests heading to a nearby settlement just a few miles away, which David had handily prepared a map for us to get there. And so off we go, an hour or so into the walk, with Tripp talking to us about our relationship with Kate, wondering how things are with Javi and her, since it seemed like we were really close despite her being married to David. We open up to Tripp about our feelings for her, which allows Tripp to open up himself about how he feels with Eleanor. Earlier in the game, Eleanor did tell us about her and Tripp had a very short thing, but he can't seem to shake his feelings for her away. But before we can say much to him, we get interrupted by several walkers, which might be a bit of an issue. Fucking hell. Jesus is the goat. Oh my god. Never mind then. We do get a chance to bring back our baseball roots, but we start having too much fun, getting tackled to the ground and losing our bat. And with 2 walkers still on us, with Jesus and Tripp already heading off, we might be coming to our end. Come on. Where's the bat? Is that Clem? It's Clem. Once again, the 12-year-old girl proves to be the most capable survivor. We tell Clem that we got kicked out of Richmond, although Eleanor, Gabe and Kate were kept behind by David, which unnerves Clem since she seems to not have the best history with the guy. We get another flashback, this time Clem carrying AJ while sneaking around what seems to be a camp of the New Frontier, in which Clem is desperately looking for medicine for AJ. She calms him down to keep him quiet before looking for his medicine. Unfortunately, it seems like it requires an injection, which is going to make keeping AJ quiet even more difficult. But we have to do what we must to keep him alive, but get stopped just before we can give it to him.
Clem.
Dr. Lingard, what's the matter with you?
I'm fine. Clem, please don't. The vancomycin. That's the last of it.
Dr. Lingard insists that the medicine won't be enough to keep AJ alive, only prolonging the inevitable. We ignore his selfish demands to put the medicine back though, giving AJ the shot, but of course he starts wailing out in pain, alerting David, Ava and the rest of the group over.
What the fuck were you thinking? You were told those drugs couldn't help him. How could you be so stupid?
We tell them that we've done more for AJ than they ever have, which causes them to all become furious at Clem.
It's more than you did, any of you.
That's not fair.
You ungrateful little shit.
Unbelievably, David and the others demand that AJ stays, assuming their ownership of him.
We don't need this place anyway.
He stays.
Fuck off.
No!
What the fuck?
You monsters!
At least David gives us a chance to say goodbye to AJ, but we know we'll get him back one day, taking the chance to spit in David's face instead, which gets us dragged away to be kicked out, and by my reaction, this was certainly the most rage-inducing scene of the entire game.
You deserve everything you get.
Fuck off, what the fuck? You've stolen a baby. You fucking weird fuckers. These people are weird. Back in the present day, we console Clem as she looks back on what seemed to be the last time she'll ever see AJ. But as we reach the area that David had circled on the map for us, there's no time for any more feelings. It's time to bash some brains, storming towards the supposed safe house. We finally find a way into the building by using a car jack to lift up the heavy shutter door, although at a concerningly leisurely pace. Why is he walking? It seems we found a pretty sturdy hideaway from the walkers here, although bangs on the door followed by David's desperate calls for help leave us with a difficult decision to let him in despite what we now know about him, especially since Clem has a strong opinion on the matter. David.
Don't you dare let that fucking baby killer in.
Fucking hell, Clem. Alright, we won't let him in. Regardless of us backing away from the door, Jesus rushes to let David in, although it seems Clem might be trying out for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Did you let him turn?
Answer her question. Now.
We didn't have to worry about that.
What the hell does that mean?
He lived, Clem.
It turns out that AJ had survived, despite the New Frontier's expectations, with David saying AJ managed to bounce back via a miracle. Or maybe Clem did the right thing giving him the meds? You prick. Clem demands to know where he is, since she doesn't quite believe him, but he isn't sure himself, knowing that Dr. Lingard is the only one that can really tell her such information. We ask David why he's even turned up here, and it turns out that he came to sort a vehicle out for us, but most importantly, to say goodbye, since he's decided to take care of Kate and Gabe from now, basically sending us on the road without them.
I'll take care of my family from now on.
Not happening, David. They're my family as much as yours.
Is that what you think? Last I checked, Kate was my wife and Gabe was my son. Shit.
Zombies storming in force us and David to quickly barricade the door with a huge crate, which Tripp becomes very suspicious of all of a sudden, and for good fucking reason too. It's Prescott shit. It's all Prescott.
I might be going crazy, but I think these came from Prescott.
What tells you that? David is quick to insist he played no part in this haul of supplies from Prescott, let alone the number of other things from more and more communities.
There's stuff here from the kingdom.
The kingdom?
Who the fuck are you? Wouldn't be in this mess if you hadn't gone all trigger happy on David's family.
Fuck him. I'd do that little bitch again just to see her head pop.
The disgusting voices match up with some unsurprising faces, with Badger, Max and Lonnie the ones behind the unethical looting, and once confronted, Max takes fire, just narrowly missing David before he makes a break for it with Lonnie, whilst we make chase for Badger, nailing some quick time events to chase him into the upstairs room, and just narrowly preventing a couple shotgun shells from being emptied into our face. We wrestle with the child murderer, giving him a nice cup of coffee before slamming his head into a pipe, but somehow he still gets the better of us, disarming us and landing Javi's baseball bat right into his skull. Nice. Nice. Fucking stay down, you piece of shit. Ah, gotcha. We empty a slug right into Badger's stomach to leave him collapsing to the ground.
You took my goddamn guts out. You're the worst kind of filth, Badger. This is how it had to end.
We get 2 home runs with Tripp's backing, but we decide suffering is the best option for this utter garbage of a human. Besides, we hear a gunshot from the other side of the building, thankfully finding David prevailing victorious over Max, who begs for forgiveness.
Raiding, looting, you betrayed who we are. You betrayed Richmond.
Joan was in on it.
Joan?
We did it on her orders. She said we needed it to survive.
My trust in David is slowly starting to return, as it genuinely seems like he is outraged at Max's actions, becoming even more annoyed when Max explains that Joan ordered them to do the raids, saying it was needed for the community to survive, and so Max goes out just how I hoped.
I'll tell
I want David to do it.
about this.
I want David to
I'll
know.
help you get back inside. Expose her to the others.
We don't need you for that.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've seen what I needed to make sure that David isn't involved in the lawless actions of the New Frontier. We make our way out of the building with Jesus telling us that Lonnie managed to get away, and after finding out that we killed Max and Badger, of course there has to be someone who wants to win the most ethical character award.
Bastard deserved everything he got.
Be
Yeah.
careful, Javi. Act like a beast. You risk what makes you human. Don't
Act
become a
like
thing
Mr.
you hate.
Beast.
Human life isn't exactly high on your list of priorities.
Fucking hell. It's just every Telltale game. Right. These guys murdered a child for no reason and said they'd do it again. And Jesus is like, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. People deserve a second. Fuck off. This is Telltale, you're rinsing this now. Jesus takes the opportunity whilst out of Richmond's walls to go ahead and find his friends that he was looking for at the beginning. Not exactly leaving on a good note with me, but at least he's been a valuable asset to the small group up until now. David insists we have to head back to Richmond as soon as possible to save Kate and Gabe. And Tripp is more than happy to join us to get Eleanor safe too, especially since he wants to tell her he still has feelings for her. David thinks that we need to get some allies within Richmond as soon as possible, such as Lingard, Clint, or Ava, to prevent the whole community turning against us when Lonnie inevitably gets back to spread the news about Max and Badger. So with such, we make our way back, sneaking in via the sewer tunnel and splitting up to avoid being spotted as easily. David heading off to speak to Joan, while Clem goes on another one of her side missions, leaving us and Tripp to head to the medical room to get Kate, Gabe, and Eleanor. We manage to sneak our way into the medical center to get to Kate's room, where they simply couldn't be happier to see us. Oh, Gabe. We tell the pair of them that we can't stay long, with the leaders of this place being completely ruthless, so we need to get a move on to find David before we can actually escape. Although before we can move, Kate tells us that Joan had stopped by while we were gone to tell her that David is no longer in power, which is when we really spill the tea on what's going down here.
Joan's been running this place behind David's back. She's pulling the strings.
What do you mean?
The people who shot you answer to her. She ordered raids on other settlements.
Kate doesn't want any involvement at all, insisting we just leave now, especially since we haven't seen David for 4 years. Is he actually all he seems to be? On the other hand, Gabe is desperate to go and help his dad, leaving me with a very difficult decision again, depending on my trust for David. It's so much easier to just run away from this place right now, so Eleanor and Tripp grab the supplies that they have to get on the road, but Gabe just can't go that easily. He is still determined to make a difference, to go and help David.
I'm gonna find my dad.
Okay, buddy. I respect that. Kate?
No. Please, Gabe. Please. I never thought I could be a mom. I never thought I wanted to be a mom. Until I met you and your sister. I'm begging you. Don't do this.
It's my dad, Kate. I can't lose him again.
And I can't lose you.
With Gabe in his hero arc, we leave him to fend off Joan and the others whilst we take to the streets to escape. We reassure Kate that Gabe will be fine, and that she couldn't have done a better job as his stepmother than she did. Guys, this is real wholesome and all, but should we really be doing this in the middle of the street?
I'd hold it there, folks. And I'd consider explaining yourselves.
What a shock. We aren't about to be taken back in this easy though, as we begin to grapple with one of the men, which leaves Kate to make a break for it, whilst we get knocked out with the stock of the gun, waking back up as we get ushered back into the leader meeting hall, where we find Joan speaking to David and Lingard, with David furious that we would even think about leaving him behind to escape with the others. He pushes that to the side for now though, with more pressing matters on the cards. Clint is completely confused about what's going on, but lucky for him, he has someone to give a version of the story. But goddamn, can anyone else smell that bullshit?
They attacked us.
murdered Max and Badger.
Shut up.
Son of a bitch.
They would have got me too. But I was lucky.
We dismiss the sorry excuse of a sob story by exposing Joan for ordering the raids and murders.
Is that true, Joan?
It's nothing but a smoke screen. A pretty damn transparent one.
Gosh,
if
she
you
even
ask
speaks
me.
like a villain. Lingard is on our team, utterly baffled at the news he's hearing, and when asking Lonnie for the straight-up truth, it just gets even worse.
We did that. Raided those communities. Hurt those people. Because David told us to.
The simply blatant and pathetic lies are top-tier rage bait from Lonnie and Joan, and after Joan suggests that both of us pay for our sins on the community, all hell breaks loose.
You brought this on yourself, David. I'm sorry to say it, but you're done here.
They were our family, David. How could you?
Fucking kill this prick. Nice, David.
I'll give you family.
What the fuck? Why tackle me? Tackle the one with the gun, you dumbass. Another flashback begins our 4th episode, and I've got to say, the world looks so much brighter than it does during the apocalypse. Great art style once again. Javi and David are swinging at baseballs in the park together, although a little kid interrupts our brotherly day out by asking for a signature.
Who do I make this out to?
Oh, no names. Band players' signatures are worth way more on resale than personalized crap.
No thanks.
Whatever, you sucked anyway.
Yeah, nice try, kid. David is clearly battling with something, with us hitting home run after home run at David's annoyance, and he storms off. After bringing us out here to take our mind off things, he wants a favour from us, to take him down to the recruitment office to join the army. Hating his current job and with him fighting with Kate all the time, he just wants a fresh start where he thinks he has a purpose.
Things between me and Kate have been going downhill for a while. But if I left, it seemed like that would be best for everyone.
We tell him that we won't stand in his way, offering our help for Kate and the kids if he really thinks leaving for the army is the best option. Heading off together and returning to the present day, where the pair of us get forced into the quarantine room.
Joan's making a huge mistake.
No, you made a
Okay,
mistake
no one
when you
died
murdered
then.
Lonnie.
Oh no, okay. Clint comes down to tell us that Joan only wants order, not revenge, and the men leave us two alone, giving David the chance to rip into us for trying to leave Richmond alongside Kate without him, telling us that now we are for sure by ourselves. He tells us that he's not sure anyone truly has his back in the new frontier anymore, ready to give up, seeing how he doesn't have belief in us and him to take down a few soldiers as a duo.
You can't give up. Gabe didn't give up on you.
And Kate? I said, what about Kate?
You gave up on Kate years ago. You left us waiting while the world fell apart. She didn't forget it.
Now Kate wants to bone Javi. Wait, no, the other way around, fuck.
You're dead to me.
We ignore David to let him keep digging his hole, letting him tussle with Javi as Joan and a couple henchmen enter the room, knocking David back as he gets a bit too close to the wicked bitch. Joan comes in just to supposedly talk to us, and we play along to try and stay on her good side, in which she tries to tell us that the raids carried out were vital in order to survive what is likely to be another harsh winter for Richmond. I mean, we know how the winter can be in this game firsthand, but barbaric raids? I'm not sure, Grandma. She proceeds to then tell David that she plans on holding a public meeting to tell the citizens of Richmond the reasoning behind David's arrest, and consequential loss of power, despite the fact that it's all gonna be lies. With David furious at Joan and her refusal to admit her evil, she orders her henchmen to escort David out to speak in private. But wait a second. Despite me actually liking the art style in this season pretty decently, some of these characters look so out of place. This guy looks like Elon Musk got a facelift and then got rendered on a PS2. Where is my man's chin? David follows the painfully irritating Joan out of our makeshift prison cell, leaving us to, well, obviously escape, taking a look around for ways to most likely get out via the window, tearing a pipe off the wall and grabbing a stool to reach the window. We smash the glass before doing our best to shift the grate blocking our way, but my fingers just aren't fast enough to spam the bars apart. But thankfully, Kate appears after escaping the guards to help pull them off from her side as we make our second escape with her. As we get into the streets, the growling sounds of a group of middle-aged Pokemon scalpers suggests a horde is surrounding the walls of Richmond, and Kate tells us that Eleanor and the others, including Gabe, have been holding up in hiding within one of the buildings, so we make our way there, not without a fair share of dodging guards on the lookout, with their presence supposedly increasing with our escape from the prison room already being alerted. As we make our way inside, we get a long scene showing members of the community preparing for Joan's quote-unquote mandatory presentation regarding David, and this oddly shaped contraption being built on a stage isn't looking too handsome. That's not going to be like a hanging fucking... Like an execution area, is it? We reach the door with Kate to overhear Tripp and Eleanor seemingly arguing, and after reuniting with Gabe, who's happier than ever to see us still alive, it turns out Tripp's plan to tell Eleanor about his feelings didn't quite go to plan.
Hey.
Hey.
Tripp, look who's here.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
We tell everyone that we need to leave as soon as possible, with it being far safer to be outside these walls than in, but Eleanor doesn't seem to want to believe it. We tell them that David is still in their custody, which triggers Gabe to want to become the hero once again, but this time we are stern with Gabe, telling him we at least need a plan instead of just running off this time. Eleanor is still pretty damn certain that we're safe in Richmond, which despite starting to get pretty damn annoying, I start to understand when we take a peek through the shutters. Oh my god.
Javi, even if you did get your brother free, you're not going to be able to go anywhere.
With an absolute swarm of PNGs bound to be on our tails at some point, Tripp rightfully suggests we need guns badly, whether they be used on zombies or people, especially as talking probably won't work on either. Gabe tells us that while he went to go find David earlier, he actually managed to spot an armory. Good job, Gabe. I'm totally not nervous whatsoever. No one's gonna fucking die. I just need to reassure myself this. Manifest it. Before we can leave, Tripp stops us for some advice about what to do next with Eleanor, but unfortunately, I'm just a gaming YouTuber, not a relationship counselor, big guy. Our reassurance probably does the trick, and we return to the streets again to get to the armory, with Gabe's confidence at an all-time high now that he's actually becoming a huge help, although we still need to keep him under control.
I've done this before, Javi. No, you haven't, Gabe. Not really. Some decisions.
Yeah, Gabe, lock the fuck in, please. As we wait outside the armory to find a safe way in, a guy leaves the building, seemingly on guard. Without wanting to cause any harm or draw any unwanted attention from other guards, Gabe has the idea to go up to the man, telling him how he saw something going down on the other side of town. And with him being David's son, the oblivious guard follows Gabe's directions, allowing us to sneak past with ease and get inside. With Gabe following suit shortly after. After a bit of loitering, we finally make our way to the armory room, although our stealth might slowly be going out the door, with Gabe speaking at the loudest he possibly can.
It's down here.
Shh. And Javi choosing to slam the fire extinguisher into the door handle, sending reverberations through the entire building. Oh, I guess that window's getting smashed in.
Have to do this the hard way.
The window. The window, Javi, come on. We find our baseball bat as well as a ton of ammo and guns, scooping up an assault rifle, but making sure Gabe doesn't get too much firepower to cause a problem. That is, until we get stopped in our tracks. I'm gonna do my best to make sure he doesn't.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh, fuck off. Ava isn't sure she can trust us despite wanting to help David out, but after we tell her we just want to stop Joan and whatever plan she's cooking up, she realizes that she can't dispute that, offering her much needed help in taking her down. She tells us to meet her outside in 5, leaving us to make our way out the armory, only to be forced into hiding by another guard on duty, but at least we can wait them out in this closet. The guard manages to drive his knife into our shoulder thanks to Gabe's abhorrent effort of attacking the man, but fortunately a head slam into the lockers keeps the guy out of action for the moment. Gabe profusely apologizes for letting us get stabbed, and Ava arrives a little late to the scene, telling us that we really ought to get our fresh new wound checked on by Dr. Lingard.
We can count on him to help you.
Medical facility's right nearby.
Oh, Gabe, just fuck off. Just stay out the way, please. I know Gabe's just trying to be a helping hand, but please learn when to just sit something out, man. I knew someone was going to get hurt because of him sooner than later. We make our way to the medical facility, which happens to be nearby, and Ava heads off with Gabe to store the guns away in a safe spot. As we enter the room, Lingard is completely out of it again, just like we saw in the flashback with Clem, who, speaking of, is rummaging through the cabinets in the medical room. We ask her what she's looking for, and all she really wants is to ask Lingard where AJ is, although with him out for the count after getting high again, we have to rely on Clem to help sort out our cut. After all, she has played these games before. Before we can start looking for a needle and thread, Clem gets a pain near her stomach, telling us that she has started, naturally bleeding, but with Javi not exactly being experienced to talk to her about that kind of thing, we tell her Kate would be happy to help, and find a needle and thread, as well as a gift for Clem.
This is just what you're looking for. They help you handle it.
We get another flashback to Clem's time with Jane clearing out the dead zombie bodies outside Carver's old base. Not much happens in this scene except Clem falling down into the pit and fighting off a zombie, following with Jane telling us she feels like Clem and AJ don't need her and that she just gets in the way, and just 13 months later, Clem found herself completely alone, returning to the small trailer where she'd been hiding with AJ earlier. She hears rustling outside, only for it to be Ava watching her. Baldy over there. What's it like to have no hair? Ava hands Clem a bag of supplies, including one of AJ's drawings, and tries to tell Clem that she shouldn't overestimate her own abilities, with it being important to find people that keep her going. Ironic, seeing as they literally just stole AJ from her.
You people stole mine. You know that.
You'll just have to find something new that...
Shut the hell up.
Oh, grow the hell up, kid. You think this was easy for any of us? You're not the only one suffering. We all
You
are.
fucking
You're just not
stole
adult enough to
our
make the tough
child.
decisions.
I'm not gonna lie, I found Ava an incredibly confusing character in this game. I couldn't tell if she was supposed to be this sort of friendlier face in a bad group of people, but I couldn't wrap my head around the whole needing AJ in their group situation. What was so necessary about taking this toddler away from Clem, and why was it made to look like it was Clem who was the weird one for being angry about it? We return to the present day where Clem has fixed up our wound, and Lingard has finally woken up from whatever state he was in, and his eyes look completely empty, and he asks us what's happened to David, as we tell the doctor that Jones still has him in custody, which doesn't give Lingard the highest of hopes. Clem interrupts though, saying she couldn't care less about how David's doing, since, you know, the child abduction thing, but Lingard insists that David was great for AJ.
I know he's the reason I lost AJ.
When AJ recovered, David was the one who stepped up, took personal responsibility for that kid.
Clem really doesn't need this David glazing right now though, desperately just wanting to know where AJ is, so Lingard tries to strike a deal with us.
That's what this is about then? You want to know where the boy is?
What are you doing?
What do you want?
I just want to die. When your brother found me, he got me to care about everything I'd given up on. Even this goddamn place, without him around. I don't want to care anymore.
Just tell me where he is!
Then you won't have any reason to do it.
Possibly one of the easiest decisions we can make in this game to humanely let Lingard go, confirming that AJ is still alive at a nearby farm. We stop Lingard from turning before heading on out, with Gabe and Ava following us out too. We return to the apartment where Kate and the others are still waiting, Trip being pretty damn ecstatic to see us and Clem return. Eleanor tells us that Kate is busy resting in another room, so we start unloading the guns, which gives Gabe a chance to try out his flirting skills.
Okay. One for you. I saved this one for you.
No, I've already got one. Actually, it wouldn't hurt to have another. Thanks.
We tell the others about what happened to Lingard, but we can't spend too much time mourning now, especially since Joan and her people are going to be searching everywhere for us by now, although Tripp rightfully says that even if we get out, we still have that huge horde waiting for us outside the walls. Ava suggests that our best option is to take the fight straight to Joan at her public announcement, leaving us to make the decision to try and rally more allies to help take her down. Despite her being some 5-foot grandma, she still seems to have a lot of firepower behind her, so we have to try and get everyone to see what a lying bastard she is. Ava then suggests that to make getting out afterwards easier, we can steal one of their modified trucks being kept not too far away, which should easily be able to plough through a crowd of the undead. Kate finally appears from her rest and asks what's happened to our shoulder, and we back Gabe up by saying it was our fault that the guard stabbed us, but Gabe still knows that he hasn't really proved himself.
Would you guys stop making such a big deal about it? It happened. It's over. Move on already.
I'm just trying to make sure he's okay.
Chill out, Gabe.
What we need to be talking about is the plan. Oh, I have a bunch of ideas.
Gabe is starting to get a bit too into being the hero, becoming insistent that he's the one to save David, even supposedly being prepared to die for his dad. We tell him to just calm down and let us work together, but that doesn't quite fit his plans.
I don't really Nobody here is going to let you be a martyr, Gabe. Your life is precious.
Okay.
Life is precious? Then how come you shot Conrad, huh?
Trip and Eleanor all of a sudden become furious at us for killing Conrad, despite us and Clem making it clear that he had a gun to both the kids and could have easily killed them. We were just saving them.
When Conrad found out that I used to run with New Frontier, he went crazy. He would have pulled the trigger.
Thank you, Clem.
No question.
Jesus.
I guess we'll never know, right? Because he's not here to tell his side of things.
Oh, fuck.
He made sure of
Trip.
that. Looks like you're a pretty fucking dangerous person to
Trip,
be around,
fuck
Javi.
off.
First you kill my friend, then you get me and my friends on Jones' shit list?
With Tripp ready to throw hands at the news that we killed Conrad, which honestly I thought we'd already told him back when it happened, we decide to give him a bit of space, preparing to go and collect the truck with Ava, bringing along Clem, Kate and Gabe for help. We make our way to the small junkyard, telling Kate and Gabe to stay behind on lookout whilst us and Clem go in to grab the truck. Gabe is still furious at us for not letting him be the main man, but fortunately Clem is able to step in to convince Gabe to stay on lookout, which gets him to finally grow up and comply for us to take a look around. There's a lot of potentially useful machinery in here, but we finally come across the battle bus hidden inside the garage. But just driving out won't be that simple, since there seems to be some guards already on the job in the side room. Without being able to just start the engine, as it would simply make too much noise, the plan is to just roll the truck out instead. Are they not going to notice the giant vehicle leaving the building? Clearly not.
Turns out you needed me after all, huh?
We finally get it out far enough that the engine shouldn't be heard, but without a key, we're gonna need to hotwire the thing to get it started, so we start looking for some tools to help us strip the wires first. These look handy. Oh my fucking god! Jesus Christ, man. Fuck you, Telltale. That really got me. We start hooking up the wires, but somehow after connecting the two that turn the headlights on, it lures over a bunch of walkers that start piling into the junkyard, forcing us to speedrun the rest to get the engine going just in time to make our escape, leaving the truck just a couple blocks away from the main stage where Joan's planning her speech about David. All we can do now is wait for Ava to get to us on the walkie-talkie before executing our plan. Gabe starts teaching Clem his favourite card game called Euchre, and it starts to remind Kate of our days on the road with him and Mariana, and for this brief moment, the apocalypse is starting to seem more homely again. Although I'd hope Gabe didn't flirt like this with his sister.
Gotcha.
Oh, come on. That's not even a good rule.
Still gotcha.
Guess he stopped playing it cool with her.
Kate starts to get a little disappointed that even while Gabe and Clem are having this fun, in just a few minutes it's back to fighting in the apocalypse. They'll never truly have a real childhood, but we reassure her that this is the whole reason we're stopping Joan. Kate thanks us for always being by her side, and I really think the two of them are great together, which just gets emphasised when Kate asks Javi that she wants to give whatever relationship they have together a chance, despite how difficult it may be with David back around.
Let's go for it. We gotta try, right?
Oh my god, really?
Really?
So are we gonna...
Yes!
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, this is so good. It's gonna end so badly. At this point, I was genuinely so unbelievably nervous that someone was gonna die. It had been far too long since someone had kicked the bucket in this season. I'm used to casualties left, right and centre. This is not good. And now the romantic and wholesome moment is being interrupted, with Ava telling us over the radio that Joan's plan is beginning, and just like we'd guessed, David is having his execution prepared, so she tells us to leave the truck behind for now and to sneak our way in without causing too much of a ruckus. Kate decides to stick back for us, Clem and Gabe to head back into Richmond to do what we must. The scene is about as desperate as we expected, with Joan spouting lies at the crowd, with David set up to be killed.
David Garcia has to be punished for what he's done. For years now, Richmond has been governed by one simple principle. Strong council, strong community. But
God, she's just lying through her
the
teeth.
actions of one of the members of that council, our security expert, David Garcia, have put us all
She's lying to all of you.
Joan is doing all she can to make the people of Richmond fear David, even lying to say that he killed Lingard to get what she wants. We tell Gabe to keep his cool as Joan finally spots us in the crowd, calling us up to the stage to hear what we have to say, but god damn, her voice is like dragging nails on a chalkboard. The voice actor has done a great job portraying this character. We tell everybody the truth that Lingard wanted for us to kill him, to be spared of any more tyranny from Joan, but apparently someone else was also preying on our downfall.
I had a very interesting conversation with your friend
Her voice is so
Eleanor
annoying.
last night. She was the one who alerted us to David's plot against Lingard.
What? Now Eleanor is even in on the lies, seemingly exposing our plan to overthrow Joan, which leads her to bring out our other allies. Yeah, Eleanor even threw Tripp under the bus. What do you think about that, past beedee? You bitch! Yeah, that's about right. Joan goes on to say how she's been left with no choice but to punish us for stealing weapons and planning this coup against her, leaving us with a near impossible decision to make.
You've put me in a no-win situation here, so I'm gonna do the same thing to you. Both of them deserve to die for their crimes.
Are you serious?
However, Javi, I'll let you spare one of them. Just one.
No! Hell no! Joan!
Don't!
I hate
Joan, are
this.
you sure about this? We never agreed to killing all these people.
Yeah, come
It's
on.
really up to Javi,
Have a
isn't
fucking backbone,
All
man.
eyes are on you. Maybe this will help you make up your mind. Boys? Come on,
God.
Javi. Who's it gonna be?
It's such a tough decision to make, but we go for Ava, seeing as she might be more useful in taking down Joan, especially since Tripp seemed to be ready to flip and hurt us at any given moment.
Let Ava live. She's always been loyal.
Javi! No!
Oh, fuck you, Yelena.
I know. Backstabbing, double-crossing, no good, dirty fucking murderer.
Such language. But I admire the sacrifice you're making here, Javi. Shoot her.
Wait! I said don't shoot Ava!
You
The
did,
fuck?
but there's something else you need to understand. Betrayal.
The crowd is in utter disbelief, and after Joan decides it's time for David to make his exit too, Clint starts to have his regrets at being a part of this, saying how this was never how Richmond was meant to be ran, instead telling us to just take the rest of our group and leave, which suits Joan as we'd be walking right out into that horde of zombies, but David doesn't quite like the sound of that, so after we take the deal, instead of risking shooting Joan and having someone else we love die, David's freed, but it doesn't end quite yet. What's that smile for?
David?
Nice, David.
I don't believe any of you. Take your deal and shove it.
David grabs Clint and demands for Joan to die, unleashing complete chaos as the civilians run away, with guards firing shots left, right and centre, taking out their own people. We rush to the stage with Gabe, who wrestles Clint to get him off David, who almost instantly puts the man down, but with more gunfire headed our way, we take cover, although after seeing Joan run away, David makes chase. The soldiers still continue firing, and after Tripp gives us some cover, we make a break for Clem, taking out her attacker with Kate calling over the walkie-talkie. We do our best to try and tell Kate to stay away, but without her being able to hear us properly and tear gas now flooding our stairway, we're forced back onto the streets, where Kate makes her arrival in the truck. Kate! Please be careful.
It's Kate. She's coming for us.
No. Holy shit. No. Fuck. Oh shit. No.
You've got to get over there before.
No. Our fifth and final episode begins with a flashback once more, playing dominoes in the old family house with David and our father, with David winning the game.
Victoria. Carajo. I was so close. You're now my least favorite son, Javier.
Hey, he's the one who beat you.
Fine. It's a tie. I hate you both equally.
After our gracious loss, we each owe David $10. With us not having it since our ban from professional baseball, our father says he'll cover it, grabbing his wallet only to discover a letter from the hospital which tells us our dad has cancer. David becomes furious that he hadn't been told about this, whilst Javi becomes concerned about how long he has left.
Oh, Jesus
What?
fucking Christ, Pa.
Hey, settle, David.
You haven't told Mama.
And neither will either of you. You hear me?
We promise to not tell our mother, but David continues to be shocked at how little his dad seems to care about his cancer, turning down the treatment too as it's just far too expensive, even refusing help from David to pay for it.
You are a fucking coward. A selfish coward. Javi, can you believe this shit?
Just because you're afraid doesn't mean he is, David. It's not always about you.
Sit down.
David finally gives up his aggressive methods of persuading his dad to try and beat it, with both of us just urging him to do his best and to not give up. And so he agrees to at least think about it, and as David heads off to grab some more beers, our father makes sure to tell us that although we don't always get along, us and David need to stick together, as we aren't as strong on our own as we think. So we promise to be a good brother as we return to the present day again, with the exploded truck bursting open the walls as zombies start to pile into Richmond. We fend off more guards that just can't seem to catch a social cue of when to stop fucking shooting people, before taking out a number of walkers to reach an empty truck, with Kate nowhere to be seen. We manage to get to David, who is on our ass immediately for losing Kate, although we get him to shut up pretty quick, and it seems she's a lot closer than we thought.
Kate!
No! Oh my god, is that her? That's not her, is it? Yeah. Oh my god, I was gonna say. Somehow, just somehow, Kate managed to survive both the crash and explosion with minimal injury, but after going straight to hug Javi and doing some subtle flirting, David doesn't seem the best pleased. Someone's angry.
What the hell's the matter with you two? Focus on your surroundings.
Our job certainly isn't over yet though, running over to Clem and Gabe, who seem to have things under control thanks to Clem and her survival skills. Nice.
I got a great teacher.
We rush inside to get away from the walkers, and David is quick to shout at Gabe when he tries to ignore him, since he didn't find killing Clint to exactly be very necessary. David insists that he had to kill Clint to save us all and would do it again, despite all of us saying it clearly wasn't needed since we were ready to leave and all Clint wanted to do was to prevent anyone else from being hurt. David still doesn't let it go, and after we tell him to back off and stop trying to act tough in front of a 14-year-old boy, he tells Gabe to go with him to help him, Clem going along too to make sure nothing untoward happens. Us and Kate get left to look for a way out of the building we found ourselves in, heading upstairs to find a number of people wounded and mourning, with Kate believing that her crashing into the wall and letting in all the walkers helped add to the chaos that ensued, and now she doesn't want to leave Richmond until she can make it right. But I'm not about to allow some dumb-ass sacrifice from Kate in this final chapter. We've gone for so long now without anyone important dying, so we try to tell her that sometimes fixing something isn't possible, but she doesn't want to leave without at least trying. We return to the apartment room from earlier to find Eleanor in there, tending to someone, and instantly bickering begins between her and Javi, with her furious that we tried to intervene with Joan despite it being entirely her fault that she found out in the first place. I can't help but feel that this was some elaborate scheme from Eleanor to cement her own safety in the community. Once she heard Lingard was dead, it was almost like she knew she'd be needed as the only medical expert in the entire place. Shut up.
It's not only about me.
Oh, it is.
I
Shut
can
the
actually
fuck
save
up.
lives here.
Shut up.
Not just stitch them up and hope for the best.
Shut up. We tell her that even though she might be helping injured people now, she's still got a long way to go until we can forgive her again, which is when we get introduced to Fern and her husband Rufus, the latter being bitten. We agree with Eleanor that he needs to be put out of his misery before he turns, but Fern insists we take his arm off to stop him from turning. But after Eleanor tells her that it's been too long and it won't work, she pulls a gun on us, ripping into us for breaking down the walls and letting her daughter get killed as well as Rufus being bit. We try our best to apologise until Kate all of a sudden steps in front of the gun, taking all the blame to try and redeem herself. Kate, move! Please, put the gun down. No! Jesus Christ, David!
Oh my god!
David.
Oh my god!
Although he didn't necessarily do much wrong there, the way David just did that seemed a little cold, and I'm starting to get concerned about him. Even more so when he notices Fern slowly edge closer towards her gun, being quick to pull his out again and throwing Gabe to the floor when he tries to intervene.
I'm sorry, that was an accident.
You were going to kill her.
She was going for her gun.
Look at her.
Gabe,
She can't even stand up.
I'm getting major season 2 Kenny flashbacks right now, and as everyone backs away, scared of what he might do next, David storms out, but we won't let him get too far as we head on to find him whilst the others stay inside. We make our way to the rooftop to find David stood right on the edge, and we immediately urge him to step back. He tells us that he notices that his wife and son seem differently now, and asks if we're scared of him too, and after reluctantly declining to join him on the edge of the roof, he thinks we might be too. But to be honest, David, that view really wasn't that enticing.
I want to change, Javi. I always have, and I'm wondering why. Is it because I don't know how? Or because it's impossible to change who you really are?
You don't need to change a goddamn thing about yourself. Yeah, except thinking that you need to change.
That is kind of you to say, Javi. I wish I had your heart sometimes.
After a pretty warming brotherly moment, Kate arrives on the rooftop with the others, bringing someone who probably doesn't want to see us right now since we kinda left him to be killed, but Tripp surprisingly is taking a different look on things all of a sudden.
I just can't shake this slippery feeling I got. Like I'm standing in shoes that don't quite fit. You picked me to die, and someone else did instead. It's a complicated world. but at least there's people to share it with.
It seems like after all has happened, everyone's starting to understand each other that much more, and Tripp is willing to let bygones be bygones, so we gladly agree to let it all go and start over with the guy, which could be handy as we need all the help we can get with the walkers flooding the streets of Richmond as we speak, so a plan needs to be made. Kate, wanting to be the hero, says that the best way to protect ourselves is to protect Richmond, so David suggests getting our hands on some of the New Frontiers defensive vehicles, just like that truck we took, and they will easily help us travel around the streets, with more being found not too far away at a nearby water tower. So we get another flashback to season 1, leaping from the rooftops to make our way there. Careful guys, those stairwells usually aren't too stable. On our way, David questions why Kate hugged us first when we found her earlier, but like many times in my playthrough, I found silence to be the best option, with the other 3 choices sounding pretty problematic. I'd say that's actually my biggest criticism of this season, in which genuinely maybe 10% of the time, I chose to say nothing as Javi in response to many things, because the prompts were either unclear or just sounded like a terrible idea. I don't know if it was necessarily intentional by Telltale, but it certainly felt like I couldn't really make much impact in some conversations. David brushes it off as weird anyway as we continue our travel between the roofs like we're playing Dying Light, finally climbing onto one of the highways where we have a talk with Gabe. He tells us that as a kid, David would always ask him what he wants to be when he grows up, and his response would always be his dad, but nowadays he's starting to change his mind.
Never be like your uncle. He told me that all the time. Don't be a man who relies on other people to solve your problems, because then you're not a man at all. I used to think he was right. Not anymore though, Javi. I can only hope I grow up to be like you.
The Rizzler catches up with Clem and we come across our first real obstacle, slowly edging our way around a tipped over car, which of course jolts when we get right in front of it. Fortunately for us, Tripp is here to catch us from falling. Tripp! Oh my boy. Thank you. Is that car gonna roll?
Thanks, Tripp. That was...
Fuck! Nice, Tripp. We thank Tripp for saving us and keep on going, this time coming across a bit more of a difficult roadblock, with a crashed helicopter separating the next stretch of highway. After spotting David grab Gabe from getting too close to the edge of the road, Clem comes over and tells us although he doesn't seem to be doing a great job, it's clear David is doing his best to be a good parent and protector of Gabe, which leads her to wonder why he ended up sending AJ away to that farm instead of keeping him. It turns out that Richmond had a very rough winter, and with all their crops destroyed, he was hit with a dilemma where Richmond needed him, but AJ needed more than Richmond.
It wasn't easy, Clem. Remember, as far as I knew, I'd already lost 2 children. Wasn't any easier with number 3.
He promises to keep us all alive in order to redeem himself for being unable to care for 3 children, and so it's time for him to prove that by coming up with a plan to cross this gap. You got any plans, Javi?
No way we're jumping across that.
No shit. Instead of attempting to jump the gap, we decide that swinging across using the propeller is probably our only chance, sending the lightest people first to stop it from breaking. Gabe goes first to prove himself and nails it perfectly, followed by Clem, Kate and David. But with walkers getting even closer, us and Tripp have to rush. Tripp insists that he can go last, so as we take our swing, the propeller snaps in the middle, and as we push a walker pinata out the way, we manage to make the climb up the propeller and just narrowly climb across. But with no propeller to swing from, Tripp's forced to fight off walker after walker until eventually he can't fight anymore, getting dragged down between the gap to inevitably come to his end. It was a nice short redemption arc for a man who was so difficult to understand, although it seemed as though he was prepared to succumb to his ending in this final episode, and he went down as a pretty decent hero too. David apologizes for our loss, but we have to keep going, finally making it back to the junkyard where we got the truck, only to find that the place has been entirely overrun by walkers. Gabe gets an actually pretty smart idea to turn on a generator down below to distract the herd, with Clem following it up by telling us that we should cover up in zombie guts to get down there undetected. We volunteer to be the one to go down, taking cover and killing a walker, slicing it open to cover ourselves in its scent. We managed to just about scrape past the zombies without being noticed, reaching the generator and switching it on, alerting the zombies to allow the others to come down safely. We reach the garage and Kate has her eyes set on the bulldozer to easily run through the zombies swarming the streets of Richmond, but David's completely changed his mind on the situation.
Oh, that's not gonna do the job, man.
Yes, it is.
What are you doing?
The right thing. I'm leaving. We're all leaving.
We tell him we can't just up and leave like that, agreeing with Kate to go and at least try to put a stop to the walkers in Richmond, especially since the undead revolution in the streets is mostly our fault. And also, we could still have the chance to make Richmond our new home, but David is staying stubborn, and it looks like he won't be leaving alone.
I'll go with you, Dad.
Gabe!
He's my father, Clem. I'm sorry, but you really wouldn't understand.
Think this over, buddy.
Gabe, Is this what you really want?
I know it's scary out there, but I have to.
Gabe is set on helping his dad, and it doesn't seem like there's anything we can do to change that. But Kate, on the other hand, is determined to save Richmond, which David completely ignores, telling everyone to get in his car and go. Kate is fuming that David is still demanding our obedience, which is when she finally breaks the news to her husband.
Run away home. Be a deserter. I am done with you. Let's go, Javi.
Why the fuck do you think he would go with you?
Oh shit.
I should have known. I should have known the night Pa died. The night you weren't there. Blood is worthless to you, just like he was to you, just like I am to you. Well, it's time for you to finally learn what blood really means.
David!
Fuck.
What do you have to say for yourself, brother?
David! Stop it!
I love you. No. No, you don't get to say that.
The fuck, David?
Stop!
The fuck?
How fucking dare you?
That's enough!
I love you. No, stop saying that.
No, stop it, man.
Dad, no!
Gabe!
Oh my god.
You're not taking my family from me.
David, no!
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Fucking stop!
I love you, brother. No! Ow!
Clem, nice job. Fortunately, Clem manages to put a stop to David before anything got any further out of hand, as we did our best to show nothing but compassion for our brother despite him clearly wanting our blood. But with Clem's last second heroics, the walkers turn their attention to us. We need to go. Gabe!
David!
Shit. With David taking Gabe, we get left with another tough choice to make, as Kate and Clem are set on returning to Richmond with the bulldozer to finally put a stop to the horde, and we choose to help the two do so rather than chase David and Gabe, who are probably going to get miles out of town before we even get close to reaching them. So it's time to save the city with all the firepower we can possibly get. We arrive at the gates of Richmond again, with Jesus and some of his men joining us from Hilltop to get the job done. We roll through the streets, mowing down walkers and popping them with our assault rifles, and after being lifted up using the bucket of the bulldozer, we can get the front gate to the city open, which lets us really get kicking, and with the help of our horseback warriors and us in Clem's rapid fire bullets, we start to make light work of the undead. Out of bullets, we swap roles with Kate to drive the bulldozer right into the gap of the wall, plugging the flow of zombies into Richmond, allowing us to finally clear the place out, bringing safety back to the community, which gives us and Clem the chance to head off, leaving Kate to finish up the job in Richmond and for us to stop David to bring Gabe back to his apocalypse family. We finally catch up to the two of them, but the scene we find isn't the prettiest, with the car they took crashed and beaten up, with David having finally succumbed to his rage and greed. But Gabe isn't anywhere to be seen in the car. He certainly had it coming.
Gabriel! Oh, please, no.
Oh shit. Is it?
No. No.
I tried to stop him, Javi. That's when we crashed.
God damn. David!
He fought for me, Javi. Until they... But I couldn't. There were so many.
Oh, Gabe.
I fucked up.
Shit,
After
man.
everything you taught me. Oh, it really hurts.
You didn't fuck anything up, buddy. You fought as hard as you could.
Oh, poor fucking guy.
I tried. I really did.
I know.
Oh, poor kid, man.
Gabe! No.
Do me a favor, Clem.
Gabe, no.
Take my cards.
What?
My playing cards. Grab them. TJJ Euchre. Okay?
Okay.
Ah, man.
I always thought I'd be alone. Then I met you. Gabe.
Bye, Clem. Give me your gun, Javi. I don't want to turn into a muerto.
Gabe, I don't know if I can let you do that to yourself.
And I can't make you guys do it for me. Just give me the gun. Hurry. Javi, you have to hurry.
No. No, Gabe. I'll do it.
Okay. Oh man. You may not be my father, Javi. But you were a great dad. I love you.
I love you too, buddy.
And I'd give up forever to touch you. 'Cause I know that you feel me right now. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be. And I don't wanna go home right now.
After all that Gabe had done to do his utmost best to help everyone survive and end up victorious, he just couldn't fight as much as he thought he could. And this was genuinely the saddest death I'd seen in this franchise since Lee died in season 1. I was genuinely in tears. The poor kid wanted nothing but to prove himself, and for him to go like that was just devastating. It's 3 days later, and us and Kate are recollecting about all the people that we've lost along the way, with Kate wondering what might have happened if we hadn't chosen to help her first. We can't blame just ourselves though, and there's still plenty of work to do in Richmond to truly make it our home to start a new family with each other. The place is already looking better though, with kids freely running and playing about, and with such, Jesus' job in stopping all the walkers is done. So after friend zoning him,
I gotta admit, man, you're a fucking badass.
You're a real charmer.
Meant to tell you, that armor you got is great.
Well, thanks.
Jesus makes his exit from the game too, telling us to step up and lead the change of Richmond, leaving us to share a final moment with Clementine too, with her planning to leave to go and find AJ. Before she heads off though, we give her a new short haircut, just how Lee had told her to in the beginning, and we tell Clem that she's bound to find AJ and be the greatest person for him in this lonely world, knowing that she can do a better job than anyone in taking care of AJ. With her haircut all done.
Well, how's it look?
You know what? I'll grab your hat.
Clem gets ready to continue her journey outside of Richmond, bringing an end to the story that we shared with Javi and Kate, promising one final chapter to write in Clementine's tale of the zombie apocalypse.
Don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want